So, hey everyone, welcome to the next session of Inside and Out. Tonight we'll be talking about living courageously and stepping into your personal power with a special guest and one of my beloved coaches, Michael Michel. And I wanted to definitely address everything that we're all going through at the moment and say that we really put our heads together to switch the topic of the event, which was going to be different originally. But in light of current events, wanted to provide something more helpful and give you something that could immediately be applied or serve you in a sense of not only supporting yourself during this time, but also how to support and uplift others during the present time of social changes, and also help you develop a new tool that you can use yourself, pass on to others to help us all rise up and contribute through action during this time. As a reminder and a thank you to all of you, I know time is the most valuable resource any of you can give, especially in a time like this. So I really thank you and appreciate each and every one of you for being here, and all of those of you who will be watching the recording and couldn't make it tonight. Thank you for your support. Tonight we will be speaking about your heroic qualities, and Michael will lead us through a better introduction of the activity. But we'll be really talking about how each of us, like I was saying, can live courageously, step into your personal power, and make sure that during this time, I think something with everything going on, a recent TED Talk I watched in an interview with the founders of Black Lives Matter pointed out that while in the past we've always taken more or less a top-down, trickle-down approach in terms of policy changes and trying to build up society in that way, and it hasn't always worked. Their movement is all about helping those rise up from the bottom to all be equal, in the sense that we will all be free once Black lives and others are free, in that we will all kind of effervescence up to the top and make sure that we're all joining in and bringing them up to the level that the rest of us maybe have experienced, others may not have experienced throughout our whole lives, and really making sure that we're not waiting for change to happen, but that every individual can support in their community, can bubble up and support those others around them to help one another rise up. And we're hoping that this tool tonight helps you do just that. And I really want to thank and show my gratitude for each and every one of you for taking the time to learn this and be here, but also just acknowledge that you sitting here, being willing to help and wanting to learn and how to make impact during this time just speaks so highly, and really shows that you want to contribute courageously, make our society and our world a better place to live in. And so that will be our aim going into tonight. And with that, I'd love to introduce Michael. And Michael has been my coach for quite some time now. We've worked together through a fellowship that I've done. So now I'm also in a coaching program with him, learning how to support and relate to everything going on in our lives. And Michael's bio reads, "Sometimes in life, what you're good at picks up the phone and won't stop calling until you answer." Having supported people on 6 continents, at all levels, from kindergarten to Fortune 500 CEOs, Michael has counseled thousands, coached hundreds, and feels that supporting others is what he was born to do. With clear strategies, compassionate accountability, and a space of acceptance, Michael supports you to experience success at every step of your journey. So, Michael, thank you for being here tonight to lead us through, and I'd love for you to introduce the topic of the evening.
Great. I would love to. And man, will it never not be weird to hear a bio about yourself. Just like the most uncomfortable thing. But thank you, Rachel. What a lovely introduction. And thank you for I just want to give a shout out to Rachel for creating this space consistently for everybody to show up to and learn and appreciate their own growth together. I think this is phenomenal, and I'm just really proud of what she's been able to do here. Obviously, an amazing human being, most of you know. So, yeah, I would love to just voice a little bit of what Rachel's already said, the reason for the pivot, looking at what we were going to do versus what we're doing instead. It's like the thing we're doing tonight is something that you can immediately leave with and use to contribute with your actions. Because right now is a time where there's a lot of momentum in the space. If you're of a mind that things need to change, and there's a lot of momentum in the space that can be capitalized upon. And the biggest way to do that is with our actions. The thing that we were going to do was going to help you to get in and like see more like shadowy things and like see what stops you and all that. But sometimes when there's so much emotion in a space, it's actually more difficult to get to those things. And so this is going to help you with all the tumult and chaos of circumstances between COVID and uncertainty about jobs and isolation and the current protests occurring all over the world. This is really hopefully going to help you to get centered. And it's going to actually touch on something that Rachel and I we're coining this. I don't know what the process for coining something is, but heroic intelligence. You got your IQ, your EQ, and now you're hearing it here, your HQ, your heroic intelligence, which means the way you show up with your actions. And that's what the focus of today is going to be. So if you get something out of it, if you learn something, for many of you, this actually a number of you on this call, this will be somewhat of a review. So enjoy, try to look at it with beginner's eyes and take something new from it. But for everybody else, if you learn something and you like what this was all about today, and you're called to see what it might be like to work with me, I am offering complimentary strategy sessions. So if that calls to you, hit me up. We'll probably share my information at some point there on the call or afterwards. So without further ado, I say we get into it. Rachel, did I miss anything, or should we just dive in?
Oh, I think that was great. If anyone has any initial questions or what I did want to say, actually, just to run through what I had forgot at the beginning, is a brief agenda of how we will approach tonight. So I just want to let everyone know that while we did touch on the sensitive subject and important subject of everything going on in our current lives, there will be a full discussion session that we'll lead into at the end of this activity to give everyone time to speak more about that. The reason we're choosing to do the activity first is so that it might evoke some helpful resolutions, solutions, even more questions within yourself that might merit a much more full and intelligent discussion. So we'd like to start there with the scope and lens of the current situation, of course, happening throughout the entire time. And then we will lead into a discussion towards the end of the activity. So other than that, I think we're good to go and dive in.
Good chime in. Thank you for that. Yes, let's get oriented before we get into anything really serious discussion-wise. So, hello, Amy Royce, and everybody else. What I'm going to require you to do is, if you're at your computer and you want to do this on your computer, great. If you want to do it on like a piece of paper and with a writing tool, I am going to have you write. So, choose which thing you'd like to use for this activity. I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Go for it. Get yourself prepped. If you've already got, go, Gabe. So fun. I feel like I'm on like a supermarket sweep show from the 90s. All right. 5 seconds. Okay. So the first thing that I am going to have you do is you're going to come up with a list of 5 people whom you admire, love, or respect. So these people can be, people throughout history or famous leaders such as, Michelle Obama, Gandhi, Martin Luther King. It could be MLK. It could be Mother Teresa. Okay, so it could be someone like that. It could also be a family member, like if Rachel wanted to choose Dolores or Dolores wanted to choose Rachel, that'd be great.
Throw
It
away
could
my
be a,
answers.
what's that? Did I just pick it right out of your, yeah, it's probably your answer. It could be a friend. It could be all friends. It could be all famous people. It could be LeBron James or Tom Cruise, probably not. Or it could be a mentor that you have, right? So you're going to pick a list of 5 people and just write their name down. You don't need to say why, just a name will do. So go ahead and take a minute to write those down. I'll give you 2 minutes. How about that? How many people need another minute? All right. So now that you have your list of 5, Amy, did you need another minute? You just popped on video. I'm not sure. You're good. Okay, great. You're also, I love that you quickly can come up with a list of 5. That's great. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to come up with 2 qualities, 1 to 2 qualities that you love, respect, or admire about this person. It's like, what is it about them? How do they be that makes you love, admire, respect them? And to clarify here, a quality is the way someone is being, okay? It's not to be confused with, say, a characteristic like, man, Dolores has great hair. That's why my mom is on my list, right? It's got to be something about how they be, like how they show up to the world. Another thing that it is not is it's not a so you wouldn't say beautiful, but you might want to say something like they're a leader, okay? But what makes someone beautiful? What do they possess that makes them a leader? Behind every action, right? Or behind every quality that I got that backwards. Behind every action that we see someone doing, there is a quality, a way they're being that promotes the doing. Does that make sense? Yeah. So for instance, there are a number of people nodding their heads right now, an action. How might you describe, what quality might they be embodying? How are they being as they're like nodding in agreement? Any guesses? Any ideas? If you're one of the people doing it, you just say how you're being right now. Come off mute. Anybody?
I'm being agreeable. I'm offering validation.
Great. So agreeable, validating. Dolores, you had one? You're on mute. You're on mute.
Sorry, I was taking out. I'm understanding what you're communicating.
So you're being understanding, right? Yeah, great. So think about this. Anytime you look at anybody in public, at work, anywhere, there is a way they're being. So that's where I want you to focus as you come up with the list of 1 to 2 qualities, okay? What is it about this person that you love, admire, and respect? Any questions about that before I set you free to do it?
For each of the 5 people?
Yes, yes. So you'll have a list of 5 to 10 qualities by the end.
Michael, would you mind while we get started? I think we had 1 or 2 jump on late. If you could just share the 2 steps we've done so far while we're writing.
Yes, I would love to. So for those jumping on late, we came up with a list of 5 people that you admire, love, or respect. Could be family members, mentors, friends. It could be famous people throughout history, such as Michelle Obama, Brene Brown, Mother Teresa, MLK, Gandhi. It could be other famous people like LeBron James or Tom Cruise. Hopefully not Tom Cruise, maybe, I don't know. Love to hear what that quality is that you admire about them. But yes, that's where you're starting. And then the next thing you're doing is you are picking 1 to 2 qualities, not to be confused with nouns or characteristics, such as beautiful or leader. And you are writing 1 to 2 qualities for each person that you admire, love, or respect. Y'all are doing great. How about 2 more minutes? Pressure's on. Rachel's requesting me in private message to do elevator music, so do 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 do. I'll stop. If you're watching the recording, just hit pause while you do the exercise and then skip past all this. All right, looks like people are wrapping up from the ones I can see. Take another 30 seconds, or 50, actually you can just continue to write them down. Your list may not actually be complete by the end of this conversation, because sometimes people love to go away and then they go back and they look and it's like, it's not right, it's not perfect, which is a whole separate thing, but you know what, pretty normal, so I expect it. So I am going to ask for some volunteers. So who is willing to courageously step up in the space and share their qualities list? And for this, highly recommend, you know, my dad, hardworking, blah, blah. Not my dad. He's always been this guy who's done this thing, and then like a long story about every person. And then we're like, all right, well, this is going to take a while. So just the name of the person and the qualities would be great. So who's willing to step in? Come off mute.
I'll go.
Great.
Cool. Okay, so my first person, Steph Curry, joyful. Second person, my best friend, Chris, is respectful and sincere. Third person, Mark Matthias, a college mentor, charitable and purposeful. Another good friend, Spencer Dell, devoted and ethical. And the last person, one of my other best friends, Logan Marshall, dedicated and ambitious.
Great. Would you mind just popping those into the chat, Gabriel? Sure. And you can just omit the names of the people for writing it into the chat. Awesome. Lovely. Thank you, Gabriel. Who else is willing to share theirs? I think I know who's going to share. I think I got him. Stephanie, are you going to share? You don't have to, but you look like you kind of want to.
Sure. Yes.
Are you sure? You don't have to.
No, it's a good time because one of my people is taking our dog out for a walk. So
okay, perfect.
My partner, my boyfriend Ben, is diligent and selfless. My sister Beth is maternal and very positive. Bernie Sanders is Bernie's dedicated and very consistent. Beyonce, these are hilarious when you group them together. Beyonce is resilient and very brave. And Ted Carrick, who is a leader in my field in chiropractic neurology, is a pioneer or groundbreaking and very personable.
I have a question for two of yours. Which, by the way, I would love a 2024 ticket, Bernie and Beyonce. Man, that'd be interesting. So my question is, what is it about, I believe you said your sister, that makes her maternal? What is the quality behind that?
Yeah, that was a hard one for me. It's weird because it's kind of her nature. And a lot of that goes with maybe a mix of like her body language and how she communicates. She's also a kindergarten teacher and the mother of my nephew. So it's hard to nail down one thing. Maybe it's her patience.
Patient?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. What else could it be besides patient? What is it? What does she kind of like exude when she's being maternal?
I mean, just love, really. She's
loving.
Yeah, she's very loving and kind and patient. I think that makes a good mom.
Which one is most important?
I don't know.
For you. For you.
That's a hard question. Okay.
For you.
For me, I think loving.
Yeah. Great.
To...
Great. Loving.
Yeah.
Did you have that on your list prior?
No.
Okay.
I'll swap that out.
Yeah.
Did you have another question?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
What were the last two?
You mean Beyonce and my mentor, Ted Carrick?
Yeah. What were the qualities for those?
For Beyonce, resilience and brave. And then for Ted, he was a pioneer, very personable.
For those two, and for everybody else, because I guarantee everybody else has probably one or two like this, ask that question. Like, once you get it, just double check, like, is this a way someone is being, or is it the way we would label how they're being, like a result of their being? You know, like, for instance, someone who is a pioneer has exhibited qualities and demonstrated them consistently in order to become someone who is known as a pioneer, right? Do you see?
Got it. Totally. Yeah. So can I edit?
Yep. What do you see?
He comes up with ideas. He's like a free thinker. Is that better?
Free thinking?
Yes.
Free thinking. If you can, that works. And if you have another word that like encapsulates that, right? Like often people might say something like curious or creative. I don't want to like shoehorn the word in there, but free thinking does work. So if another one bubbles up as we go along, great. If not, that one works. So perfect.
Personable. I mean, he's kind of like, he's snarky and disarming.
Snarky, huh?
Totally.
Yeah. Do you? Yeah.
I admire that.
You do. That's pretty clear. It was like, totally. Great.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Stephanie. Could you type just the qualities into the chat? Fantastic. Thank you. We're cruising. So we've got time for, well, at least one more. Who's willing to throw theirs out there?
Oh, sure. I'll go.
All right, Christine.
I kind of cheated though. So like 4 out of my 5 are couples. Hopefully that's okay. I couldn't pick one or the other. Otherwise, I'd probably sit here for another hour thinking. My first is my parents. The second is my boyfriend. Both of them, I feel like there's two qualities are the same. Hopefully, they're okay qualities.
Two boyfriends?
Oh no.
Oh.
My boyfriend is number
Okay.
2.
Oh God, so confused.
I would describe them top 2 as selfless and full of love. My third, fourth, and fifth, I feel like have 2 of the same qualities, is probably why I'm drawn to them, is Barack and Michelle Obama, Bill and Melinda Gates, and Gordon and Betty Moore.
Okay. What are the qualities?
Oh, the 2 qualities are humble and generosity in wanting to make global improvements and impacts.
Okay, so you'll want it to just be a 1 or 2 qualities without explanation.
Okay.
And there's a reason for that, because
Okay.
you want to be able to identify clearly. This process isn't intended for this, but it can help in you being able to identify qualities in other people more clearly, and just seeing it like in its simplest terms. But yes, go. What were you going to say?
Ooh, I was debating generosity or impact. I would say generosity.
So you're going to say it as generous.
Generous, yeah.
Because you want to be able to say they are generous, right?
They are generous.
Okay. So what are your just the qualities? So we have generous, humble,
selfless, and full of love.
okay. Full of love. What is the quality for full of love?
Ooh, that one is tough.
When they're full of love, what are they demonstrating?
I guess I would say that they're there for you, but I don't know if there's like a
If someone is being there for you, how are they being? They are what?
I'm losing my train of thought.
You're doing great.
I'm trying to think of the word, but I can't. I feel like I'm getting like a writer's block or something.
Well, you're on the spot a little bit. What's coming up? Where is your attention right now?
I'm trying to think. It's like if you ever just run into an issue or problem, that they'll always be there for you. I feel like there's a word, but I can't like fully grasp it.
Mm-hmm. Is it supportive?
I didn't say even supportive. Like I would say committed, but a different word. Dedicated. There we go. Mm-hmm. Dedicated.
Yeah. Oh, great. They're dedicated. Lovely. Okay. So hit me with, can you type your list into, you don't have to put the people's names, but your list into the chat. That'd be great. Thank you. Thank you, Christine, for being courageous and jumping in. I love it. Does everybody notice how the people who are sharing are smiling as they're sharing? Does everybody notice that? Kind of like thinking of these people, kind of like generates its own inherent joy to be focusing on these qualities. Anyone have anything to say about that? Anything you notice about that?
I mean, I guess I would say that I don't know. I mean, there's a lot you could say, but I think they're happy when being thought of being that way. They're talking about other people being that way and excited themselves. And in a sense, it's you're not saying like, I'm grateful for you, for that person, but just by describing them, you're showing gratitude for people being that way, and that makes you happy.
Love it. Well said, Rachel. Rachel, why don't you go?
I wish I was. Just kidding. Okay. I wrote down more than 5 people, but I'll go with a few. Okay. I went ahead. Yeah. Well, there's too many people here, I didn't want to leave anyone out. So maybe I should just go with those that are here. Let's do that, since they should hear how great they are. So Martin, my partner, is loving, supportive, adventurous. There's a few that you're all these things. So my mom is strong, comforting. I was tricked on this one, but non-judgmental. I believe you can be non-judgmental, but that might not fit the form. I don't know.
Well, if she's not being judgmental, in the moment that she's not being that, how is she being?
In the moment she's not being that, how is she being? Well, judgmental. If she's not being judgmental, if she's not non-judgmental, she's being judgmental, right?
Pause. Where's that?
Did I hear
right
that
there.
wrong?
So you said she's being non-judgmental. Great. If she, in the moment, is not being judgmental, what is she being?
Open-minded.
Great.
Supportive, all sorts
Great.
of other adjectives.
What's the one that you love your mom the most for out of those that you just named? Open-minded, supportive?
Supportive. Yeah. Supportive.
Oh, great. Okay. Supportive. Dolores, it's like, supportive versus, it's like, she is this thing. Isn't that great? Versus, at least she's not this other thing, where it's like, that's good. That's nice, right? You want to focus on the thing that shines through the person. So, well done, Rachel. What else did you have?
I had, so Dr. B, I have fierce, intelligent, and achiever. That's more of a description, though. She's being achievement driven. She's ambitious. We'll go with that.
Intelligence. Okay. So, so say a little bit more about intelligence, because intelligence is, as we know, not necessarily fixed. The capacity for intelligence is on a spectrum of capacity to achieve.
I wrote down Carol Dweck too, so there you go.
Oh, great. Is Carol Dweck on this call? You said it's all people on this call.
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
So then, I had it when we were saying that, but why did that just leave my mind? Of course it did. Well, I had inspirational, because to me, intelligence equals inspiration. So I had inspiration down as next as well. But I know there's many others you could say about intelligent. Was there another point you wanted to make about switching intelligence as?
Yes. Just in general for everybody, if anybody has something like intelligence on there, just know that there is something about people cultivating and stoking the intelligence that they are born with that allows them to come across as intelligent in this world, to grow and develop intelligence at a much faster rate than other people, and to have a greater capacity to be intelligent. So, oftentimes people will say creative, curious, hardworking, or studious, or something like that. And that is the key to their intelligence. I would say, I really didn't used to be very intelligent. I might still not be that intelligent, to be honest. My IQ is probably pretty generic. And I would, however, say that I absolutely love to learn, and that I'm a very open person. And because of my openness and flexibility, I've put whatever intelligence I did have I've like pushed it to the edge of its abilities to be more intelligent as a human being. So, and there's so many different forms of intelligence as well. So that's my stance on intelligence. It's more of a trait, in my opinion, than a quality of someone's being.
That makes sense. And I don't think it means the same thing to everyone. So like if you admire them for being studious because they're very focused, or that versus where I was going with like ambitious, you know, inspirational, impactful, that kind of thing, that's a totally different meaning. So I can see how you can break it down more. I am happy to call out more traits for everyone on this call. Should I call out at least one, or should we continue for time?
Well, let's wait. How many do you have? Did you do your list of qualities?
Right, I did, but I can also just run through some of the people I know on this lovely call. But yes, I have some others. So Amy, one of my best friends here, is free-spirited, empowering, and funny. Jess is kind, always open, and sweet. I put sweet, but there's so much more I can say, and I think that doesn't encapsulate everyone here. Although it's been just a short time, Gabriel and Claire, I've just noticed ever since joining in here in our groups, you're both always curious and kind, also open-minded, I would say, just to open up here. And Brian and Christine, I don't get to know you guys as well. I'm so happy for you all to be on the call. So I'm just grateful for you sharing as well. And Lindsay, you are resilient and impactful and vulnerable in the best way.
Well, that is great. I just love that you just got to pump everybody up who's on the call. This is amazing. So send me the short list on the chat of your qualities. And, you know, as you do that, I'm going to circle back to Gabriel. Okay, Gabriel. Joyful, respectful, sincere, charitable, purposeful, devoted, ethical, dedicated, ambitious, and humble. Who is that describing?
The person I want to be.
That you want to be, or is that
the person I am?
That is who you are, isn't it, Gabriel?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it is, isn't it? I know it is. I know you, and I know it is. Stephanie. Diligent, selfless, loving, positive, dedicated, consistent, resilient, brave, snarky, and free thinking. Who is that describing? That's you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's why I was smiling. I didn't want to interrupt before because Rachel put it so well, but like that activity was so meta because you're saying it out loud and you know the activity is making you describe yourself and you realize it, but you're stuck in it. And I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That is you. And I love that you love it. These are all who you are. They're the things that you love, admire, and respect in yourself. And it's the things that create connection with other people. It's like a magnet, you know, you got one end in you and there's another end in all the people that run across you. And everybody's got different qualities. But for whatever reason, these are the ones that resonate the most, right? So I got a question for you. Have you, Christine, have you ever been, is she still here? Oh, there she is. Have you ever been generous? Even one time in your life?
Yes.
Great. Have you ever been dedicated? One time?
Yes.
Okay, great. Gabriel, have you ever been joyful? Yep.
Yeah.
Rachel, have you ever been open-minded?
Yes.
Adventurous?
Yes.
Yes. Great. And so what you're all telling me, and this is for everybody's qualities, is that you've done these things before. What that means is when you're being it, your body, mind, and everything about you knows what it feels like. It knows what it is to embody that quality in the moment that it's happening. And chances are you've done it far more than one time. But because you've done it one time, it means you can do it again. Now tell me this, Gabriel, is there a time of day, you know, like, okay, so like you do your whole work day and you get home at 7 p.m. and your ability to be ethical, you're just out of ethicalness. It's not even a word, but you're just out of it because you just can't be it anymore. Does that ever happen to you? Okay.
I don't think there's a limit.
Yeah. Stephanie, 9 p.m., even later, you just can't be snarky anymore.
Snarkiness is inversely proportional.
Yeah.
It goes up at the end of the day.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, sometimes I'm too exhausted to be snarky. Yes.
Yeah, sure. I don't believe it. But what about loving? You know, I mean, imagine you get to age 75, okay, to be so lucky to get to 75 years old, and just the ability to be loving is just gone. There's no more lovingness. Christine can't be humble anymore. She's 75 now. That ability is gone. Is this true? This is not true, is it? Does everybody agree? Nod your head if you don't think this. Wait, I get confused sometimes. If you know this isn't true, nod. Yes, everyone should nod. Great. So here's what that is telling me. Not only do you have the capacity and the physical mental memory of what it is to be these things, but this is actually your unlimited resource as a human being. Each of these qualities is your superpower. This is who you are, and it's something you can call upon in any given moment. What do y'all see? Anything you're noticing out of what I'm saying? Any questions or comments? No? I'll take this silence to be validation. I don't know. Great. So one more piece to this is it can act as a compass for who we are. Because, for instance, Rachel, when you're not being caring, does that upset you?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Christine, when you're not being humble, is that upsetting for you to not be humble?
Yes.
Yeah, great. Stephanie, when you're just kind of like lazing around on the couch when you know you should be diligently putting the time and effort into something important to you, is that kind of like a moment to go, beat myself up a little bit?
I probably shouldn't, but I do that. Yeah. Yes.
And that is totally normal, because for these qualities are so who you are as people that when you're not being them, it bugs the heck out of you. So we are going to build these like a muscle. We're going to put this into the present tense, and we're going to learn how to build our heroic qualities, our heroic intelligence like a muscle. And I could go into all the neuroscience behind it, and well, theoretical neuroscience as well as the neuroscience, but this is a practice for rewiring not just your mind, but your being and how you show up to your life and the things that are important to you. So the wording that you're going to use, okay, this is really important. The wording is really important. Right here, right now, am I willing to be? Okay, everyone should write that down if you've got your list in front of you. And by the way, you can just delete people's names and put your own name. Okay, delete all the names on your thing. Rachel, you're gonna have to narrow that down to 5 to 8. No more than 8, no less than 5. That is the number, that's the sweet spot. Sorry to tell you, Rachel. She wants all the qualities.
Yeah, that's also complimenting everyone here.
Yeah. So take a moment and everybody write that down right here, right now. Am I willing to be? And then insert an ellipses. Thank you, Rachel. here's the practice. You're going to pick a time of day every day for the next week, and you're just going to address your list. I recommend taking your list, narrowing it down to 5 or 8, like what are the most impactful. You can walk away here and switch a word out here and there, but put it somewhere visible. And each day you're going to pick 3, and you're going to write it on your hand or your wrist, okay? And then you're going to pick a time of day. I recommend something consistent, so you know every day. It's like when I park at work, I look at my hand. Now, wait a second. I know when I'm parking at work, I'm usually rushed. I want to pick a time that I know I have the space of 30 seconds to do this process, okay? And the process is going like this. You just pick those 3 words. And if it's before you make your first call for work, or right when you get home and enter the space with your partner or kids or whoever, you're going to say to yourself, right here, right now, am I willing to be loyal, dedicated, and compassionate? Yes. That's it. And you're going to do it every day. If you want to do it multiple times a day, you stand to increase the benefit by degrees of magnitude. Okay, for the diligent among you, like Stephanie, she's diligent. I learned that because I looked in the chat. So if you truly would love to, I highly recommend doing this practice every day for at least a week. I've done it for years, year stretches at certain times, off and on in those year stretches, but it will, over time, get into the DNA. And the fact that you ask it in the framework of a question and an answer calls you, who you truly are, forth into the space. So I would love to hear what you notice about this. So if you want to reach out to me or Rachel or someone else in the group for accountability and just tell them, here's what I noticed after doing this for a week, here's what shifted, or here was a moment where this was extremely impactful for me. Please do so. Give yourself that accountability so that you can really get the most out of this practice. And again, if you felt that this was really helpful and you're interested in the complimentary strategy session, there's way more stuff like this, and I'm offering those right now. So yeah, that is it for the exercise. Any questions? And then we're going to get into the discussion of the times right now for everybody. Questions about the process? It's pretty crystal clear.
I have a question.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
So everyone was really cool with being like, oh, these are my qualities, but I'm still like, wait a second, are these my qualities? So is there like maybe a way to change my mindset about that? Because I feel like they're kind of tall orders. Like I look up to these people, but I'm not sure I'm there yet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Great question. For the sake of time and the promise of the conversation about the movement, I would say email me and we can discuss, because it would require me to like get in there with you, like I did with a few of the other people's qualities, and really see. Does that sound good, Jess? Good?
Yes, thanks.
Okay, great. Is everybody clear about the recommended practice for this moving forward? Yeah, I see nodding heads. Fantastic. Y'all did a lovely job. Thank you for those who jumped in. Great. So we are going to turn this. Rachel, should I go into the question using the things on the list?
Yeah, I think that would be a great start. And then by all means, I'd love to hear everyone's voices of how they're feeling, what they're looking for support on as well, maybe how this ties in.
Great. Yep.
I'll
So
move back to gallery view.
Note what Rachel just said, what you need in this time, or questions you have about how you might want to show up. It is tumultuous, and it could be a really beautiful thing. And I think it is, personally, in the process of being beautiful as it is. But what I would recommend is look at the list that you have, and you can identify one quality, okay, one of your heroic qualities, and then ask yourself, what might it look like for me to be demonstrating this more as a part of the BLM movement, and what might change, what physical action might happen if I were demonstrating this. Like if I were being more vulnerable, right? Pulling from Rachel's, if I were being more vulnerable in regard to the BLM movement, because I don't feel like I have been very vulnerable. What actions might I take that demonstrate who I am and will be a contribution to the movement? And I'm going to go on mute and let y'all talk.
Since that was one of my qualities, I'm happy to start that off, but just bridge in to say that if I were being more vulnerable right now and admire that in others, I really think that vulnerability is a willingness to learn and a willingness to fail. And so that would look like one of two things, maybe both, but the willingness to learn, of course, is to seek out not just resources, but maybe people who've experienced all the suppression and would be willing to have a conversation with me about what their experiences have been and how tough that might have been for people who might not know when they're being suppressive. I might ask for accountability from those people to call me out and be open to that vulnerable interaction and conflict, even if I ever were to say or do something that isn't aligned with what bringing this movement forward. And from a spirit of being willing to fail, that would look more like taking action rather than being silent, even if it's maybe not the best thing to do. Maybe I get feedback that it didn't work out as well as I thought, or maybe there's something that could have been more impactful and I chose to go to a different way, but at least I tried.
Yes, I love it. Something I've noticed is there's people who are worried about doing it right, the way that they can help, like doing it perfect or the right way or whatever it is, because they're worried about getting called out. And I hope from this, people can just jump in, obviously be knowledgeable, but like jump in. I'll say for myself, I've been a little judgmental, and I've lacked patience with people in my network and forgotten that everybody is on their own journey with this experience of learning and understanding and engagement. So that's where I'm at, and that's what I'm taking away from our talk.
I'll share something. What's come up for me is that I've been feeling angry and guilty toward myself for not being the qualities that I know that I am enough, or up until this point, as it relates to the movement. So I know that I am, dedicated and consistent and resilient and brave. I will be the person to say something. God knows, you don't even have to ask me and I'll say something. And so I'm feeling like I didn't do my job up until this point to be brave for other people. I watched the film on Netflix, the 13th, highly recommended. I look at the credits, it was made 3 years ago. Why did I not have this documentary on my radar for 3 years? And I know shouldn't be the focus, but I can do more, and I can be brave, and I can speak out, and I dropped the ball, and I want to openly apologize to friends of mine and the community that I hadn't made their fight my fight. So I'm kind of battling that. I don't know how productive that was for the room, but it's tough when you can do more and you want to do more and you haven't been doing more, and who can you blame it on? So I just try to take responsibility for that and fix it with small acts.
Thank you for sharing, Stephanie. And what is one small act you might do to demonstrate that you can do more?
Sure. So I think not everything with this movement has to be done publicly with how we are participating. And I'm very vocal and sharing certain things on social media and information. But for myself, I've gotten several books on the topic, on not just racism, but being anti-racist, about white fragility, written by Black women, to kind of gain their perspective in order to understand and reformulate how I can tweak interactions with certain people, and just my mindset. So that's how I'm starting, and we'll see. It changes over
Something
time.
about the way you're saying it that makes me feel like you're like, what's up?
I just want to do more,
Yeah,
and
me too.
like, the purpose of the movement is not for it to be my thing, and so it's a practice for me to take that back seat and listen and let someone else run the show and just say, like, put me in, coach,
Great.
Process for me. Yeah.
So okay. Well, do you see a next step, knowing that, like, you can still do more and just, take a back seat while doing more? What might be the next step for that?
That's a good question. I'm not sure really what that looks like right now. I mean, I have other people, like my business development team is very mixed racially. Like I hate to say I don't see color, but that really, I have a pretty diverse circle. And so for me, what doing more might be is just allowing them space and not putting my journey onto them or asking for something from my friends of color, like explain to me this, or asking their opinion on what's going on. It's like, just stay in your lane. So that for me, I think, is enough for now.
Great.
If that makes sense, that rambling.
Great. Well, it depends on you. It's it's where you're at with it, and everybody is on their own journey, right? But it sounds like
I want to burn shit down. Like, I want my anger to have bigger ramifications. And that's the movement, is we need to be methodical and we need to be organized, because we've been here before for hundreds of years, and emotion isn't going to get us there. Organization and diligence and persistence and whatever, all the other things in my all my qualities, right? That's going to get us there. And just coming together as a community. So it's not about what I can do individually, but how what I can do can play a role in the bigger movement.
Beautiful. How many people are resonating with something Stephanie has said so far? Raise your hand. Oh, yeah, it's almost everybody. Great. Who else is seeing something for themselves around their qualities and about how they can contribute and show up differently or more?
Well, I was going to say similar things to what Stephanie was saying. And with your exercise that you did and provided us today, it's along the same lines as me. As you did this, I'm just going to choose things, and I won't repeat what Stephanie said, but all of those things that she's feeling, and choose things and make them a part of my life, so that whether it's gaining knowledge in a certain area, in Black Lives Matter, or however you want to term it, if it's actually providing a service, if it's showing up in the community, if it's internal or external, solo or in a group, choose something that can incorporate into your life and live that way moving forward. And if everybody does things like this, then we will get to a point where we see a different world. You know, we'll see some of the things eradicated that are happening and have been happening forever.
Beautiful. Well said, Dolores. Can I ask you a question, Dolores?
Of course.
And this is actually a question for everybody, but you can be the mouthpiece for the whole group.
Okay.
Is there anything, as this has been happening, is there anything you like, it keeps popping up. It's like, man, I'd like to do that, or I'd like to help in that way. And it just keeps popping up, but going unaddressed.
I don't think I've dove in enough to the knowledge. I spoke to the knowledge. So reading and getting, now I too have a very diverse, I have friends for life of color, and I don't see color myself, but we just are so busy in our lives. So without going on something else, to answer your question, I can't really say that there's been one thing that I haven't addressed. I don't think I've really dove into anything well enough yet in the areas I spoke to. So I have a lot on my list.
Got a lot on the list. I think we all have quite a bit on the list. But thank you, and I appreciate that you're willing to just own that. It's like the list is long, and it's like I haven't dived in as much as I want to.
We get so busy, you know, everything just keeps going, but now we have to stop, and we have to make other people's the world, all of our lives better. And so we got to take the time, we got to incorporate it.
Absolutely. Yep. Awesome. Thank you, Dolores. How many people resonate with Dolores in the comment? You know, it's like the list is long. Yep. Yeah, it is.
You have a list.
I feel like I'm in the Matrix getting like a download right now.
Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. So Rachel, did you have, I do have something to speak on Black Lives Matter. So a lot of the organizations have a abundance of donations that have come in, and they're redirecting them, asking them to go to other organizations. There's a couple of organizations that if you're wondering where you might donate your money instead, if you want to donate, there's a couple social emotional learning programs that focus on diversity that I really appreciate, because I believe education is important, not only for reducing police brutality and a violent culture, but also creating a more positive orientation point toward race and social justice. So I could share those. I forgot to prepare it here, but yeah, that's it. So that's one action you can take if you're unsure of what to do.
Yeah, thank you for that. And for everyone sharing, I realize it's definitely a vulnerable, confusing, adds to the list in a lot of ways, everything that we're thinking about doing in this time. And just want to repeat here that this activity is something you can do yourself, share with others, as a means of helping everyone rise up and see their heroic qualities from within, their heroic intelligence, and how we can all contribute towards a greater world. Because taking small steps now, it's not about being right, it's just about getting out there and doing stuff. So I want to acknowledge all of you for being here and showing up for that today. I will reiterate any information in the thank you email. I will be adding Michael's information as well, so all of you can consult with him if anyone's looking for additional support. And I realize there's a lot going on right now, so if there's anything that you would like support on, would like to see in one of these future sessions, or are just looking for a friend, I'm always willing to hop on the phone, but do let me know. And yeah, with that, I thank you all for being here. Really taking a minute to be creative, take, a critical look at what's going on and kind of come to your own conclusion about what your heroic intelligence is. And I hope all of you have a wonderful evening. Did I leave anything out, Michael?
I just feel called to say one last thing, and that is that the easy thing to do is because of white privilege, and this is something I've seen for myself lately, so I'm kind of preaching a little bit here, but you know what, it is what it is it may be the easy thing to feel safe, not demonstrate our heroic qualities, and just close the blinds, right, on the people and the things that are happening outside of our home while we are safe in our whiteness inside. And it can be scary and unnerving to get out there, whether you're worried about doing it right, being perfect, or actually for your physical safety in some way. But just trust yourself and trust the qualities of who you are and what make you you, and follow that energy and do what's best for yourself and the people in your community. That's just a little preachy, and I'm sorry if it ruffles any feathers, but that's just how I feel. So I hope you all have gotten a ton out of this. Rachel, again, you're a miraculous human being, and thanks for putting this on and creating this space.
Thank you, all of you.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. Everyone have a wonderful evening, and I'll be sharing the recording and some information by the end of the day tomorrow. I'll see you next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Question.
Michael and Rachel.